Hi, this is Dr. Darren Rypel. I want to introduce today Dr. Kevin Knapp, our orthodontist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kevin Knapp from Smile Orthodontics, and we are very proud and excited to be supporting Classroom of the Week.
Covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you.
Our typical day starts with I greet each child at the door because I think it's really important to make that one-on-one connection with them each morning, and I get an instant read of kind of where they're at. Once they come into the classroom and they check in with me, then we head down to the computer lab and we spend the first half hour of the day doing a program called Moby Max. And Moby Max is a differentiated educational program where it really kind of meets the kids where they're at. It helps fill in any gaps that they have. It also helps to challenge them if they're struggling in an area. Then we head back to the classroom after that, and we have a time of devotions. Devotions is one of my favorite times of the day. We are able to sometimes read out of a Bible storybook. Sometimes we read out of the Bible. And then children are always invited to share different kinds of prayer requests or prayer praises, and we put those up on a prayer chart. We put that up with a green marker, and then when God answers the prayers, we update those in blue so that the kids are able to see God doesn't forget about their prayers and God answers their prayers. Another thing that we do for devotions on Friday, we have all the students in grades 3 through 5. They come to my room and we have a time of praise and worship where we sing Christian contemporary songs and we dance and we let loose and we have a great time. Another thing that we're doing on Fridays this year is we're also writing prayers. Our focus this year as a school is on prayer. And so on Fridays, my students focus on a different part of prayer, whether they're praying for somebody in their family or they're praying for somebody in the community or in the nation and the world. And it's just been really good because it's helped to deepen their understanding of who God is and how we can pray for multiple people throughout the world. After we're done with our time of devotions, then we typically move into either social studies or science. And in social studies and science, we really focus on being able to get information from a text. I also do a lot with motions. I tell my kids, your muscles have memory, so we do a lot with how, when we're reading information and we're gathering it, we'll also put motions with it because that really helps to kind of connect it to things that they already know. It helps them to recall that information. We also do a lot of different experiments in science, and they love doing that. We've recently been watching mealworms grow into beetles, and in spite of the mold, they have loved it. We usually close our morning by doing some reading and some writing, which is always important. After lunch, we delve back into the world of reading and writing through spelling, and we look at all kinds of patterns for the week. And then we move on to a time of Bible, and Bible is always an exciting time for them as well. We, in third grade, we really focus on the Old Testament, and many of those stories are pretty familiar to the students, and so one of my challenges is to really maybe teach them something that they didn't already know about the story. So I integrate a lot of Bible history. I also do a lot of applications so that they can understand that it's important to know what happened in the past, but it's also important to think about how do we relate that to our life today. I've also been using pictures of the Lego characters, and that always makes them excited. After a time of Bible, then we move into math, and in math we're able to see God as well, with God giving us the ability to problem solve, God creating patterns, and I think honestly that's probably my favorite part of teaching at Grand Haven Christian School because God just infiltrates every part of our subject, and I'm just able to just have God's sightings all throughout the day, which I think is awesome. We end our day with time on the back rug for some read aloud, and then on their way out I always give them a handshake and a little nice greeting at the end like chow chow brown cow or adios hippos, and they always like to end that way. I love thinking about my classroom this year. My classroom, every year I give my students a name, and my class this year, they are called the Selfless 17. And I picked that very intentionally. Our theme this year as a school is the theme of joy, Jesus, others, yourself. And so I wanted my students to really think about what does that mean to be selfless? How can I put others before myself. And so from the very beginning, I challenged them to do that, and they have just taken it and run with it. They love looking for ways that they can help each other. We have an area in our classroom called Buckets of Blessings, and when they're able to be a blessing to somebody else in the classroom, whether that's getting a social studies book for them, or playing with them at recess, or encouraging them with a smile, they will put a pom-pom in their bucket, and they will put a pom-pom in the other person's bucket whom they blessed. And it's just a visual reminder that God asks us to go out and be a blessing for someone else. I always tell them the world will often tell you that you're number one, but Jesus tells us be third. He wants us to put himself, then others, and finally us at the end. Another way that I've challenged my children to be the selfless 17 is not just by keeping our faith within the classroom, but also going out into the community. So 4 times this year, we will go out to over to St. Pat's Church, and we will help out with an organization called Love in the Name of Christ. And the students will be partnered up with different people there, and they walk through the food line with them, and they collect food for them, and they also show them love and hope. And it just really reinforces to the kids that the things that we learn here in this room, our faith can't stay within these 4 walls. We really need to be servants out in the community and just showing God's love and God's hope to lots of different people. I hope that when a student leaves my room, I hope they know a couple of things. Number one, I hope that they know that I love them. I work very hard on developing a personal relationship with each one of my students and learning all the little things that make them tick. But even more importantly than that, I hope they come away knowing that they are a child of God, that God has created them with specific gifts and talents, and that God has big plans for them. I love when students come back and visit me and they share the different ways that, hey, when I was in your class, I was working on this, and now God's led me to doing this in the world. And I just think that's a wonderful, wonderful gift. So again, just striving to get them to understand who they are as a child of God and what plans God has for them in this world. That's what I hope that they bring from their year with me.
Have a great